Welcome to this week's edition of The Passion of the Digital Artist. And here he is, that passionate yet saddened digital artist and his saddened associate, Jeff and Xavier.
Hello, everybody. We're back this week. It was we're here on the heels of what happened in France. It's just a tragedy, and our condolence goes out to all the families,
Right,
and
our
the people.
hearts go out to them. Just my gosh, what an awful thing.
Right, and the terror that keeps getting established. It's just you just gotta pray and hope that our leaders figure this out. That's all you can say. This at one point, this problem, if it doesn't get taken care of now, it'll just get bigger and bigger, and it's going to have to be taken care of at one point or another. It's just going to have to. It's just, you can't just have innocent people running, getting killed on a regular basis based off of a select, extremist group. So that's
Exactly.
what we have,
Exactly. So France, we're with you.
Yeah, and I honestly think that this really pulled France and America even more together. I think over the last probably 10 years, at one point there was some, split between France and America, but I think over the last 10 years we've gotten closer, and this just pulls us even closer, as free countries that are trying to get along in this.
We're in it together.
Yeah.
To echo the words of John Pershing, Lafayette, we are here.
Yeah, and all my followers, and I'm just so glad that my friends on Facebook, all my French friends and followers on Twitter are okay. The people that I know that I've conversed with, I've established contact, and I'm happy that none of them, most of them were not affected poorly. Even Patricia said that she had a friend that was at the concert venue when it happened. He was there as a journalist, but he was okay too. So,
well, thank goodness for that.
Yep. So that brings us to this week. What I'd like to cover this week is, I want to be very specific, and it really comes down to the education of digital art, a digital artist myself, and a traditional artist who combines the two mediums. Because of my career, my skills set has been, I'm a good painter and I'm a good digital painter. So I like to combine the two. But the very important part, I love to digitally paint and I love to traditionally paint, but the part that's really kind of interesting and has a lot of variables, and something that as a digital artist, what you want to really solidify is your print process. When you're painting, and I use a Wacom pen with the brush tip. The brushes are the same as in and outside the computer. You can see here there's some little icons, and these little icons take the shape of a brush. So here I have it large, and I'm just going to pick a color, grab this brush, pick a color, and you can see it has a brush texture, and when you use it smaller, you can use it smaller like that, but also if you start to play with your opacity, you can do some nice build-ups. It works similar to what an oil painting does, but then at the same time you have the ability, if you do make a big mistake, you have the ability to go back and correct your mistakes. But if you get into the detail, when I'm painting, I pretty much understand what it looks like on the screen to what it's going to look like on my digital canvas. So the area that we're looking at right here, the detail that's happening here, I know that the screen's really given me a really good representative of the detail of what's happening, but I know when I'm painting this that it's going to be a little bit darker, and that's what I prefer. If I wanted it lighter, I would have to paint it lighter than this. So really, after all these years, I was a commercial artist, and I worked on a I've been working on the computer creating artwork since 1989. I've really started to understand the printing process, and the printing process is unique, and it's putting ink onto canvas or putting ink onto paper. And canvas and paper are similar, so I've always understood, just like when you're painting a watercolor, or you're painting acrylic or an oil, some of the colors aren't as bright as you like them to be. Some of the paints, you want to get a really, really beautiful, crisp blue sky, and you're looking at, but the paints aren't doing it. It's the same thing with the inks when you're printing. So the strong points of some of the inks, especially the blues, that are some of the strong points of printing with ink. The blues that you can obtain on some of, I found out, and the purples, some of the purples, the reddish purples, you really almost can obtain a redder and more pure color than you can with the acrylics that I use. But when you get into the pinks and some of the fluorescent type stuff, the inks fall short. And understanding this process, this is, I believe, my 31st canvas that I've put into canvas, and then I still have to finish this particular painting. I got to go in with and hit some of the highlights and just do the finish touches. That's going to happen in the next couple weeks, and then this painting will be finished. But understanding that process of what it looks like on the computer to what it's going to look like on your canvas is very important when you're painting, because you have to understand some of the teals that print. It just doesn't print teals very well. That you're going to take teals, you're going to take acrylic teals and make up for what the ink is not representing the way that you want it represented. And the same thing when you're painting with blue, you know you're going to get more richer blue through your inks than you will through your acrylic paints. So you're really going to kind of want to finish the blue areas to get and use the strong points of the inks in your painting so that it works out good. So that brings me to your choice of a printer. And your choice of a printer is very, very, especially with canvas, is very important. There's a lot of cheap canvas printers. They don't use the 100-year archival inks. Epson isn't the only printer that you can print on, but Epson is by far the highest quality, and the inks that Epson produces for the archival inks are the best in the business. So you want to pick a printer that is using an Epson printer for the canvases, and then also using the archival 100-year archival inks. That's very, very important. You want your piece to be around. 100-year ink, archival inks are more light saving, or they're light fast, than the actual acrylics. Acrylics and oils are not 100 years. They do start to fade. A lot of them start, and most of them start after 50 years. It's not like they fade all the way and they're gone, but they start to fade. Picking a printer is very important. I use Simply Canvas. I did it because, one, the quality, they do use an Epson printer, and they also use archival inks, but also then it gets into the wood that they're stretching the canvases on, and the quality of the work to stretch the canvases onto the wood. They use the highest quality wood. This particular painting is a smaller painting. You can just see it's just a finished wood. It's not going to warp, and it's a finished wood. I'll take this off real quick, and it's not going to warp. And then you look at this is a small canvas, but just everything, the craftsmanship of putting this canvas together, this particular small one, it's unbelievable. As you get larger, their quality and their sturdiness is just the best that I've seen. And I've tested 5 or 6 canvas printers, some of the top printers. I initially picked them even in the worldwide. Had them produce some samples, all of the same image, and Simply Canvas for me turned out to be the best. And it's just the quality of the canvas is it's unrivaled. So you might be able to find other people doing similar, but I don't think you're going to find people doing any better. So that's very, very important as a digital artist, as far as representing your artwork, that you're doing digitally, to get it into the physical world and get it ready for physical painting, the traditional painting on that particular piece. So once again, the Epson printer, you want the archival inks, and then you want good quality wood used in, and then craftsmanship used to stretch the canvases onto the frames. All important things for the longevity of your artwork, and then also for the guarantee that when your collector purchases your piece, that they're going to get something that's going to last lifetimes, that it'll be around. So, and that's always very, very important for artists. So that's where we're at. That's this week's video blog. And
very fascinating. There's so many things that, I blog with you every week, but I'm not as obviously entrenched in the process as you are, because you're the artist and I'm not. Wow, there's so many things to consider there, and so many things that could make or break an otherwise, brilliant piece of art.
Yes, there's no doubt, and a lot of through this process there was one piece where it was very difficult to get exactly what I wanted, and the other reason why I use Simply Canvas is because they worked with me to get that piece to where it needed to be, and whether it was it didn't matter what the reasons why it wasn't working out. In the end, we were able to get the piece to where I wanted it to be. So that is always very, very important. I mean, picking your printer is important. And there's probably a few more out there than there was, because I chose Simply Canvas 5 years ago, and they've kept up their quality. So I haven't been testing very many other printers since that point. But I'm sure, that's what you got to do. You got to test it and make sure that your transfer between your computer image to your actual canvas, and you have to also understand that transfer. You have to understand when you're working that this is a backlit RGB piece of artwork on the computer, and when it's going to go onto the canvas, you have to understand and preconceive what it's going to look like, so that it looks the way that you want it to look like. This particular painting, I like what it looks like, but initially I knew exactly that it wasn't going to look like what I wanted, what I was imagining it to look like. This is way brighter. And if you look at, I use a Salvador Dali, and we'll just cover this quick. I looked at a lot of Dali's, and Dali's paintings are dark and muted with high contrast lighting. And it's not that. It's this. And this is what I was shooting for. Initially, the dark edges that I added in on the end, because that's something that he did. He loved to put that gradation, the dark around it. And this covered it the way I wanted it to. This works like a Dali, where that is much more colorful and brighter. But I understood that I was going to get this from that. And that's the part that, as a digital artist, that we all have to learn, that transfer between canvas, between the digital file on the screen into canvas. It's very important. So, and the only way to do that is to work with your printer and get it to be where you want it to be, and then understand what the relationship is to the screen to print. And that's something that comes with time. I think that's it. Another one in the books.
Another one in the books.
Oh, did everybody like the beard? Look, I just, once again, now we talked about the last blog about 5 years and then it going to 10 years kind of thing. Well, now it was 5, and I just, no, it's been like we just started yesterday, because that's what it, I traveled back in time this time.
There you go.
So I guess that's it. That's another one. Anything else?
Big little frogs.
Yeah.